Yeah, and the reason, it's early so we can forgive a lot of things. Like, for example, if your co-caster forgets to share their screen with you so that you can look at the second hand and effectively do your job of casting this Legends of Runeterra game,
I don't know
that'd
what
just
you're
be so
talking about.
wild, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm just throwing out hypotheticals here, things that people could forget to do because it's so early in the morning. Not that mine would ever do that.
All right, here we go. We're good. We're good. So I am actually. We were originally thinking we were gonna do Lazy Guga and Mo, so that's actually gonna change real quick. But you guys should be able to see the mulligan there. And as we get started, I mean, what are we tossing here? I mean, harrowing. Don't think you want that this early on in the game on the side of Pirucream, and honestly, on the side of Cheeserdude, doesn't look like a terrible starting hand. We might toss something like the deny this early on. And hopefully our client didn't. Hey, off to a good start then. This is
I
good.
wonder if this was the post mulligan for Cheeserdude, like they just did a really fast mulligan and then had to wait for Pirucream, because I don't
Possibly.
think you would have kept that entire hand for the most part. But
Yeah.
opening with the one of Laurent Protege, something that we don't typically see in the Shenfiora list, something that we really haven't seen since Bannerman was the way to go. I mean, even scouts have started to cut this card.
Yeah, Laurent Protege, I mean, rip Laurent, right? It used to be one of the staples in, most Demacia decks. Just having that 4 health, seemingly pretty good. But, he always pops in and out of the meta, so we'll see if he's able to make an impact in this game. I don't think so, namely because we have some of these kindly tavern keepers and things like that do have that 3 health, um, or the 3 attack for that matter, so it's not really going to trade quite well with those. So it is going to come down here. We do have single combat available if we do need it, but Pirucream is going to go ahead and bank that mana going into next turn, which I imagine is going to lead to some sort of Catalyst of Aeon's turn, which doesn't feel terrible right now.
I just realized that I keep calling this card Laurent Protege, but if you asked me to do his quote, I would say, "Who does not know the name Laurent?" And if I'm gonna say it Laurent when he says his own name, why am I saying Laurent when I'm calling this card by its name? It is Laurent Protege,
Laurent.
as he tells us.
And every time I hear him say that quote too, all I think of is Beauty and the Beast. You know that guy that says his name in that same exact French accent?
Yeah. Uh,
What's the guy's name?
Umiel?
What is it?
Umiel? The candlestick?
No, not. Oh, yeah. Wait, is it the candlestick?
Candlestick is very French.
I think it's the candlestick.
So we actually get a vengeance down onto the Shen while the shields are kind of down for Cheeserdude, and I really don't mind that, being able to push this damage back onto the units, setting up for great avalanches. And it's looking like a really juicy avalanche, but unfortunately Pirucream just doesn't have it yet.
Yeah, it's definitely feels bad moment when you're going up against a deck like this in any sort of mid-range deck, barrier, stuff like that. Avalanche usually does a lot to be able to give you that sustain going on to later in the game, because the real problem is going to be if by turns, that 6 to 9 sweet spot for barrier where they start to get down some of those larger units like Cythria and Bright Steel Formation. If Cheeserdude's able to maintain a wide field at that point, which right now, I mean, we got 3 units down. If we're able to maintain this field, those cards are going to be that much more impactful, Cythria and Bright Steel Formation, just being able to basically close out the game at that point, and that's where things get a little dangerous for Pirucream.
I would like Pirucream to pass here and actually not play the Catalyst of Aeons, because there's a big difference between going into 7 mana and 9 mana. I don't think ramping here really does anything for you, but if you just pass, then Cheeser has to respect the threat of a Ruination.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Boulevard would only be on 7 mana next turn with that Catalyst of Aeons. And honestly, even if you wanted to go ahead and play something for 7 mana like this Rekindler doesn't technically have a target right now. There's no champions that have died. So, yeah, I do like this Vile Feast. Just kind of puts that blocker on the field, at least using the mana efficiently. It's not terrible. You do get the drain from the Vile Feast as well as the blocker to not necessarily shut down this attack, but at least prevent some of the damage from it. And yeah, looks like Cheeserdude saying, I don't really care about Ruination. We are still going to go for it and go all in.
Well, you might be thinking Boulevard. Why would he be worried about Ruination? He has Deny in hand. That Cythria the Bold that came off the top is exactly the reason that you float this mana. If you were only on 7, I don't think Cheeser would have any problem just slamming down the Cythria and going balls to the wall, but instead now has to either sacrifice the Laurent Protege to this Spiderling or take it with the Screeching Dragon and lose out on a lot of damage.
Yeah.
On the side of Pirucream, though, we're seeing this opposite problem, right? Like, you would love to be able to play the Rekindler and gluttony that into the Anivia instead of the other way around, because the problem of this deck is and always has been actually finding that Anivia.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Gluttony and both Rekindlers and the Chronicler, all 4 of those last draws are basically dead in hand right now. And it feels really, really bad. On the flip side, Cheeserdude has a lot to basically start to look to close out the game. We obviously didn't see that Ruination come through from Pirucream. There's no reason not to play it there. So Cheeserdude now knows, okay, there's no Ruination. How do I go about closing out this game here? And honestly, with the Relentless Pursuit and Deny in hand, that's kind of the 2-card combo you want, right? You want that protection for something like Ruination, and then if it is played, you follow up with something like Relentless Pursuit. We're off by 1 mana on this turn, but we might just go for it this turn, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if Cheeserdude decides to be that aggressive.
I have to see how it all shakes out. Pirucream at the moment is really debating this Grasp of the Undying, but decides ultimately to just take the damage, and I think that you only actually save 1 HP by using the Grasp right there rather than waiting later on, because you were at 19. It's only going to heal you for a little bit, and you'd only be invalidating 3 damage at most. So kind of curious to see how this one shakes out. I don't imagine Cheezer's... I don't know. This is tough. This isn't a bad Relentless Pursuit, but Avalanche is still a threat that you need to consider, and if you Relentless, you are tapping below Deny mana.
So is Harsh Winds. I'm not sure if this is a main deck Harsh Winds. Or, no, actually. There is no main deck Harsh Winds, so no Anivia on board. That isn't a threat. So that would be another consideration with the 6 mana. I mean, I got to agree with you. It's not going to be lethal, especially considering some sort of 5-cost heal like Catalyst or Grass that we see in the hand of Pirucream. If we do get a Catalyst committed here, which could be a possibility, Cheeserdude might go for it at that point, knowing and just guaranteeing that this damage is going to get through, and you're going to be able to clean up that Kindly Tavern Keeper quite nicely with the Screeching Dragon while still keeping it out of range of Avalanche due to Fury. But nope, we are just going to pass, and there's the Ruination. This might be really bad. It might actually be bad that we drew Ruination for Pirucream because we have the combo of Relentless and Deny in hand for Cheeserdude.
I definitely think that if Pirucream just tries to fire off a Ruination here and say that, while my opponent does have 7 mana to refill the board, this isn't a deck that plays a lot of units. I could see them getting down 2 units at most if I just fire it off here. But Deny into Relentless Pursuit would be absolutely backbreaking, and this is only a 1 of Relentless Pursuit. And I think that Pirucream has done a good job of playing around it thus far, not firing off that Catalyst on the previous turn. You didn't really need the mana, like 10 mana this turn. You would have had 9 if you had played the Catalyst, so it wouldn't have been too much of a detriment. So I think that Pirucream is aware of the presence of this Relentless Pursuit and will continue to play around it for now. It's one of those weird things where you make a read and then you kind of have to commit to that read. You can't just, a couple turns later say, hey, what if they actually just don't have it? Unless you have to.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough spot for Pirucream, and I do think that's why we see the Catalyst fans fired off. This is just as bad, though, and that's kind of the problem, at least us knowing that Deny Relentless is in hand. As long as Deny mana is always kept up, we can continue to get down these units like Cithria. I think this is the dream situation for the barrier deck going up against a really late game control deck like this for Anivia. We are in a spot where we can get this Cithria down. We know Pirucream can't really do anything this turn. We can go into an open attack next turn. We could even develop, knowing that we have the Deny. So at this point, why not develop and bait out the Ruination? Because then your opponent's on 4 mana. Then there's so much less options that Pirucream has. But we're actually going to play the Relentless Pursuit now, and I don't hate that either. I mean, either way, this is back-to-back attacks that look like they might be able to close out the game here.
Yeah, with Spirit's Refuge and Deny available on your next open attack when you're actually going to end the game next turn, feels really solid. You don't really care about losing this LoR Protege. You are clearing out Pirucream's board, and as you had mentioned, no main deck, at least Harsh Winds. I don't think even if there is a main deck Flash Freeze that it's going to be enough to stop this. So
there is
pretty clear-cut open attack for Cheeserdude here. Just go back in. Anything is lethal.
Just look at Pirucream's hand. That hand is garbage. We're talking about Laurent, right? This is garbage. It's terrible. Terrible hand, Boulevard. And this is what you don't want from an Anivia player. If we do the Grasp and we do the Flash Freeze, we actually are still dead. when you do the math, it looks like we would still take 10 damage and be at 6
Yeah.
health, unfortunately.
Plus the Spirit's Refuge or the Deny can either one can invalidate the Grasp of the Undying healing. So Cheeser taking that quick win here in game number 1 of the top cut of the OLS. Going to move on to their own, or no, not their Anivia deck. Their Anivia deck was banned. They're going to be moving on to Go Hard. And I'm hoping that out of Pirucream, we can get to see this Aphelios Twisted Fate in action a little bit more. Maybe a little bit later on. But as far as I know, Go Hard does not do particularly well into Anivia.
No. 100% does not. I mean, I think the only way that we really do well against it is by the Anivia just not drawing Anivia, as kind of like we just saw there. But I don't
You
think
already got that team out of the way, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Now
yeah.
You're going to draw Anivia.
Yeah, statistics say we're likely to actually draw Anivia this game, hopefully anyways. And, all right, Pirucream and Cheeserdude. And I do hope that Anivia is drawn just so we do get a game 3 here. You hate seeing 2 O's in the top cut.
Do you?
I mean, yeah, right?
I'm fine with it. Assert your dominance. 2-0 that man. No prisoners, no quarry.
All right, so what do we got for the mulligans here? We do have a Ladros early on for Cheeser. I highly doubt we'll be keeping that. Otherwise, Jagged Butcher, Go Hard, and Zap seem like decent picks. And looks like Pirucream also going to get rid of most of their hand as well.
I'm not sure how much I would hate keeping the Ladros. No, my spectator crashed. Just because I think that you are unfavored in this matchup. The Ladros is one of your best bets at actually winning the game, and you need to guarantee that you have it on 9. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that your hand up until 9 really means as much as having that Ladros on curve. And, you know, it's kind of weird because there's the argument of, oh, you have this draw power, surely you'll find the Ladros by 9. We all know that's not actually the case. And also, you could make the argument that you have all this extra draw power, you know, you can fix your hand along the way.
Yeah, and we do keep the Ladros, so we'll see if we're going to get that down real early here. We do have an Avalanche early this time around for Pirucream. We had the opportunity to play it there, opting not to, maybe looking to get more value out of that. And honestly, I do agree with Pirucream with that notion. I mean, this deck, on the side of TF Go Hard, constantly going super wide on board. This Avalanche is going to be looking to absolutely clean up for Pirucream. So the more that we can bait out, I think the better off Pirucream is going to be in this particular game. But this is kind of an awkward turn, right? I mean, we don't really have anything we can proactively play unless we do want to play that Avalanche. And I really think we need to bait out at least another card from Cheeserdude before that's played. Is that a main deck Passage Unearned?
Yeah, your favorite card.
I hate that card.
No, you love that card.
Why does this card exist? Oh, my God. I mean, now I'm trying to think of what it targets in this matchup. I don't even think it targets anything in this matchup, right?
Kegs.
Oh, wow. That's a... Whew. All right.
Like I said, this card will never get no value, but it can get some very questionable value.
Whoa. Does it get value versus barrier? I think that actually has no summon effects instead of... Yeah, I'm pretty sure barrier actually has no value.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And that's why we saw Pirucream, you know, lose to Cheeserdude so spectacularly, right? Because Passage Unearned was in the deck and your opponent's deck had no targets. It's only natural.
See, it's that easy, ladies and gentlemen. You just know the one card, you get a change, and then you'll start winning all the games.
So we do get a proactive Avalanche. I think that Pirucream realized it was going to be a little bit too awkward if Cheeser did try to play around it. But it does mean we get the TF down, and now Pirucream, top decks of Vengeance, that isn't unreasonable to throw out onto this Twisted Fate.
Well,
there's really no Vengeance targets in the deck.
I mean, I guess maybe if you need to use it on something like Ladros, right? But I mean, that obviously is going to feel quite bad as well. And yeah, here we go. We are just going to jam it onto this Twisted Fate. I mean, you have to basically, because we played the Avalanche, right? We can't let this Twisted Fate stick around for even one more turn, unfortunately.
Yeah, this Passage Unearned is really just going to sit dead in Pirucream's hand and not work out. I don't hate the tech. You know, Feel the Rush is a deck that is back and very prominent in the meta. I'm not sure if there are any other great uses for it right now, though. Like we'd mentioned earlier, it gets value against everything, but that doesn't mean it's good against everything.
All right, Sentry off the top, and go hard for Cheeserdude. So go hard's really going to start to come online here. Not much that Cheeserdude can actually play for the go hard or play it on, but now we could technically go hard this Sentry. I don't know if Cheeser wants to do that, but it looks like we are going to get it. And I don't mind this. Although you're going to draw one card from the Sentry on the side of Pirucream, you do need to get this go hard train going. And that's really all that's going to matter right now, especially with that Ladros in hand. The faster you're able to get something like Ladros down on, one turn and then pack on the next turn, or even this Doom Beast as well to close out the game, I think the better off you are. So very much like this decision from Cheeserdude, understanding that by turn 9, we really do need to be putting away this game.
I thought that Cheeser might use the Withering Wail there in order to negate that additional 2 draw out of Pirucream, but there is value that you can actually find with this Withering Wail later on. Pack your bags into Whale is the way that you're going to be able to clear out big Anivia boards that come off of a Harrowing or something like that. And without any Ruination in Cheeser's lists, that's really your only way to actually clear out these big Anivia boards. This is the 3rd Go Hard in hand as well, so we already do have Pack Your Bags online as soon as we want it.
Yeah, and that is huge for Cheeserdude. I imagine this turn, we will eventually get this Glimpse Beyond as well after we do stick this 3rd Go Hard, which means we could have a super early Pack Your Bags, and we are almost certainly on turn 9, which we will also have the attack token on turn 9. We're almost certainly going to be playing this Ladros to really start to close out the game. Pirucream's at 10 too, so technically Ladros followed by a Pack Your Bags does also close out the game. So a back-to-back, Ladros 9, Pack on 10 might be the way to go, but we do see some heal. We got 6 total heal in the side of Pirucream, so essentially at 16 health right now at this point in the game.
Really unfortunate that we missed out on our passage unearned value.
Yeah, there's the keg.
Oh, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna clean it up with a Withering Wail. Good job, Pirucream.
Is that worse or good though? Like we just negated the value of this card in hand, and it's just forever gonna get 0 value in this matchup.
If hand space becomes an issue, then we can talk about it. But Pirucream does find the Anivia and has the Gluttony alongside it. So with that Harrowing, we're already well on our way to having a really impactful Harrowing later down the road. But Cheeserdude probably going to be able to find the Pack Your Bags relatively soon. I mean, look, we talked about the Cheeser Burble yesterday. if this Burblefish gives him the Pack Your Bags that he needs to combine with this Withering Wail to stop the Harrowing, it's solidified. The legacy of Cheeserdude is done.
And the irony of the name as well, Cheeser. Like, it just feels so right. Cheesing out a free Pack Your Bags. But hey, why do you need a Burblefish Pack Your Bags when you got one off the top of the deck? Because it does look like that is what Cheeser's got in hand now. And honestly, we did say at the beginning of the game, maybe TF Gohard doesn't really have a great matchup versus Anivia, but it's looking like Cheeser, at least at this point in the game, is doing a pretty good job of just constantly putting on the pressure, but also not developing too much to the field and getting blown out by something like an Avalanche or Ruination, both of which Pirucream does currently have in hand.
Trying to think of how Pirucream can even go about navigating this turn. One of the unfortunate things about Gluttony is that it doesn't do anything to actually dodge the Pack Your Bags. It would just get an additional Anivia into the pool. But I don't think, at the moment at least, there's no way for Cheeser to kill the Agnivia. So if you play Anivia and Pack comes down to, say, stop the Anivia from attacking as well as push damage, you can Catalyst and get to 10 mana onto the next turn and actually level up the Anivia and get that going as a decent blocker. But instead we're going to start off with the Kindly Tavern Keeper.
Yeah, and I mean, again, lots of heal. Getting 3 more off the top there with the Tavern Keeper is going to keep Pirucream in this game. It's interesting to me, and actually we mentioned earlier how there's no harsh winds in the deck. I know we saw a Flash Freeze. It looks like there is only 1 Flash Freeze as well. So not even really giving any respect to something like Atrocity, which I know we definitely saw a lot less of in day 1 as far as people actually winning with that, but not a whole lot of Frostbite. Really focusing with this deck on the removal with 2 Grasp and 3 Withering Wail, 2 Vengeance, and 2 Ruination. That's a lot more removal than we're used to and a lot less Frostbite, I think.
I feel like coming out of day number 1, we saw a lot of Frostbite splash into a lot of decks. Of course, Field of Rush was one of the more popular decks on the day, but we also found ourselves in a lot of matchups talking about how useless this Frostbite was.
Yeah. Yeah, it does seem like it's not nearly as impactful as it might have once been. And again, not getting the value off of unearned passage.
Ooh, but Jailbreak comes out. There's our passage unearned.
Wow, you really, the inflection of your voice there and the excitement for oh man, we got a 1-cost spell that passes unearned is gonna negate.
Here it is. Watch us high roll this. Ooh, Fleet Feather, that's not bad. That might actually be passed now. Okay.
I was gonna say, wait, hold on. I think you actually have to play that there, right? Like you literally are never. There's only one other Dreadway deckhand, and this is actually more value than killing a keg. Maybe. I guess you could argue that if it's like a Withering Whale or something that goes down with the keg, but I don't know. Somehow I feel like this unearned passage is going to lose us the game. I don't know how, but it's not going to win us the game. I know that.
It's definitely not going to win us the game, but things are looking pretty rough for Pirucream still. Cheeser wants to go for an open attack, and I think just would like to finish it. Okay, never mind. We're going to slam down the Ladros, and this is probably going to greenlight the Ruination.
Oh, yeah.
Which is still a problem because Cheeser, you know, I know you talk a lot about Stygian Onlooker coming down post-Ruination. Screw that. We got Burblefish to come down post-Ruination. That 0-mana card. Going to push through a decent amount of damage and really set us up for the pack lethal, though. Pirucream does have enough healing in hand to stop it eventually.
Yeah, that's 100% right, Boulevard. You know, the redevelopment of something like Burblefish, and I think this is really the reason why people decided to start playing Burblefish. Sure, you could get the high roll and get a go hard with Burblefish, but I mean, it feels so good to be able to redevelop like that after such a big, you know, Ruination. We might even flash freeze this, yeah. Yep, and this makes a whole lot of sense. I think this 3 damage, although this flash freeze doesn't seem like it's getting the most value, the timeliness of this flash freeze, I think, is what matters most because we know there's a Pack Your Bags in hand. Pirucream probably expects there to be a Pack Your Bags. There's actually 2 technically now. And that 3 damage being prevented now means that Pack Your Bags coming down is just not going to end the game. It also means we still have this additional 3 heal from the Catalyst of Aeons to continue to fall back on. With that said, we're talking about Frostbite. We have an Entreat in hand, so we could grab a Harsh Winds if all else fails and, you know, Harsh Winds something like Ladros and the Burblefish attacking next turn. 6 is a very important life total, too. This is actually very important for Pirucream to stay at exactly 6, because as long as we're at 6, Ladros coming down means any of our 3 heal cards, like Grasp, Withering, or Catalyst, all put us above Pack Your Bags lethal, which is super, super important right now.
I like this attack out of Pirucream. It's going to clean up the Burblefish. It's not going to kill the Ladros. It's going to... I mean, you know that your opponent can't kill your Anivia because there's no go-hards, right? They're actually tied up in the Pack Your Bags. And with that mana nerf, you know that your opponent can't throw that down. So I think getting the Burblefish off board is good because if you don't have to play the Entreat to get the Harsh Winds, I think that you would much rather Gluttony and try to set up for a big Harrowing because you cannot play the long game against this Ladros, and Harrowing is your way to end the game faster.
Yeah, and I do think that's why we're going for this Gluttony. I mean, this is going to do a lot for this attack. The problem is we still don't really prevent the Ladros from attacking next turn. We can block it, so I don't think we're too concerned with that. I mean, oddly enough, it looks like Cheeserdude's done a really good job thus far, but I think Pirucream has done a better job at really managing the life total and using it as a resource, as we've discussed so many times, because I don't know if there's going to be the correct combination of cards for Cheeserdude to play to get Pirucream within Pack Your Bags.
I don't know how I feel about this. I thought that if Pirucream attacked with Rekindler, then Cheeser would block it with the Ladros, let it die, and go in with it again next turn, but not the case. We are going to start off with the Pack Your Bags.
Yep. And this does wipe the field of Anivias. We have no more heal, which is definitely a big deal. We don't see any direct damage in the hand of Cheeserdude. We do have a Go Hard with a Salvage in hand and a Pool Shark. So we can very quickly start to go towards that, you know, that next Pack Your Bags. 21 cards left in deck. I think it'll be a little while before we actually get there, but I think this Harsh Winds this turn is what's going to be able to do it for Pirucream to really seal the deal here.
We don't have a Harsh Winds. We're only on 6 mana.
Oh, we don't have enough to play Entreat and Harsh Winds. Wow.
Yeah, the Chronicler of Ruin top deck might get Cheeser out of this, but I don't even think that's going to be enough. You do need that to develop a fearsome blocker, but thanks to the shakedown randomly created by the Wiggly Burblefish, you can pull that to the side with this, oh man, Pool Shark, that's his name. So yeah, it looks like Cheeser is going to be able to pick up the 2-0 here.
Yeah, here's the Pool Shark. We have the Withering Whale as well to get rid of these 2 eggs. Yep, here's the shakedown.
Do it in style. Shakedown.
Man, I'll tell you. Oh. Yep, here we go. The 9. This feels so bad for Pirucream. We almost had it there, and just 2 more mana, we would have had to treat Harsh Winds. Unfortunately, not being able to pick that up. And yeah, Cheeserdude taking a 2-0. Yeah, you know, I like seeing 3-game series in the top cut. Boulevard, come on. Come on. What, you don't?
It's not that I don't, but I don't think that we don't need to inflate the closeness of the series. Sometimes lineups just beat other lineups, players just beat other players. Not everything has to be close.